Hi and welcome to Glitch 2600. Who am I? Well, I'm Brian, aka Glitch, your friendly host through all things geekery. And what is this? You ask? Well, it is a Glitch Byte, part of Vlogmas 2020. I explained what Vlogmas 2020 is a little bit in a few videos back. You'll see a day one on our playlist. It's just a way for us content creators to create something every day through December. I've been doing lives and these little bites of information, and the Glitch Byte is just that. Normally 10 minutes or less, sometimes it's a little bit more. Otherwise, we start getting into our megabytes where we go into more detail. But today's one is, as you saw, having to do with transparency and layering with Photoshop. So it works with Canva, it works with video, all of those. But we want to talk about what is layering and what is transparency. Well, layering is just what it sounds like. It's layers of information, on top of each other. So when we layer, we build our first, and you kind of see things through it. So if you built your background, put some stuff over it, and a little bit here and here and here until you make a picture. That is layering, and you can slide stuff in, behind, and over and under, and you'll kind of see that in Photoshop. And transparency just goes with that, because what's the use of layering if you don't use a level of transparency? So you could overlay a red, full background and then put a full blue over the top of it. You would never see it unless there was a level of transparency. So having said that, let's actually get in there and show it. And we'll move on over to our screen share here. And I'm going to use our Glitch Bytes thing as a way to show that. So if we come in here, you can kind of see this one has a lot of layers. It's not laid out quite like what you think it is. But let's go with a blank image. So in this case, the background is all blank. So you can see right through. That's what this hash line looks like. If I were to make another layer, which I can go down here with the plus, or I can do Command J to duplicate. Now, if I wanted to, I could fill this layer with whatever color I wanted. So if I Control Delete here, or Command Delete, I filled it with white. Otherwise, if I do Option Delete on a Mac, I can fill it with black or whichever color on here. So as you can see, it doesn't really matter if I turned off this layer and filled this one with white. You don't see anything because it's on there. If I wanted to make it more transparent, I could lower this opacity, and you see gray, because what happens when you lower black over white? You get gray. So that's how you can do that. But if I wanted to, I could erase and make a level of transparency. So if I were to take, in this case, I'm going to move that out of my way here. But if I were to take the eraser tool and erase some of this, you would see white underneath, because what happened is if I kill out the white, you can see the transparency behind it. That's that layering as we layer that on. So you can kind of see what's going on there. If I wanted to, I could add an image. But this becomes more important when we're building out a full image here. So this is just multiple layers together to make this work and look good. So in this case, if I were to turn off each one, down here, that is its own element. And it's not what you think. If I were to grab it, it's actually, if I were to grab it, the actual grab it, and do it the right way this time. Helps if I'm on the right layer, like I said. You can see it's actually a much bigger one that's shown around there. And I just moved it back. So a lot of times with these, what you see and what they are two different things. So this Glitch Byte is its own. It moves around independently on that layer with a different color, different opacity built into it. Lowering down. That's what this is for this one, is the opacity. This one is a 29, so I'm letting some of it be transparent. So you can do that with Canva. There's a way to lower the opacity there, and when you say send to back or send to front, it's where you're at in that stacking order, and imagine it's one of those pictures that you're looking down through. We've all seen those ones where it's like you look from the side and it just looks like garbage, and then you walk in front and it makes this beautiful portrait of things hanging in the air. Well, that's what layering is. And that transparency is just what you can see in between there. So whether you're doing with Canva or the other, Canva you have to pay to get to save as a transparency format. In those transparency formats, you can't save a JPEG to be transparent. TIFFs can have it, but for video and live, PNG is the way for that. That portable graphic is what it stands for, portable network graphic. That one supports transparency. Just like for video, it's the Apple Res 4444 or 4040, whichever way, can allow transparency. So that's how we make these overlays. This overlay works because everything else is transparent around it. Only the part where my name was is showing, my logo up there. Behind it, as I pop that on and off, everything else is transparent behind that. That's a PNG, and everything's dropped out. Now, there is some tricks with Canva that you can export it, and if you were to, let's say you wanted something to be like a square for a pip, and a pip being like this, where there's cutouts there, and inside, so you can't see my hand as it moves around there, even though if I go here, you can see it farther. Well, in Canva, you could just make that square element in bright orange, because nothing else in the scene is bright orange. And there's some tools you can take it into and cut that out. There's a whole bunch of stuff for that already out there. If you would like, I can make a video on that. Just let me know, and I can tell you how to get transparency in Canva for free. So just let me know that interests you. Comment on this, and I will make that video and show you how we do that. Or you can do it with any of the other tools that are online editors. There's obviously a point where for ease and time, you should just pay for the tool and get that transparency, or pay for Photoshop. You can get Photoshop and Lightroom for $10 a month through Adobe and have a way to manage your photos and have editing here. But if you don't want to go that far, Canva and Easel, they're really good options. And you just have to know to build that graphic. But as you layer it, that's where layering and transparency comes into play. So you can make a shape. So here's my photo, but I layered it. And see, there's a little cutout. So where it painted everything in black over here, especially if I maybe hover this up so you guys can see a little bit more. On mine, if I turn this off, it hides it through. Turn it back on. This is actually part of a bigger photo. If I were to hide you can kind of see that's where it painted what we call a mask. But if I were to disable that mask, you can see it's a much bigger photo. If I re-enable it, it cuts out and hides the other parts. But that transparency is what allows that to go through. If I didn't want to, I could take this and put it below the bytes. Below the bytes. And you would see that over me. So that's where you can get creative with your elements and create something that's a little bit bigger. If we go back over here, because we can, let's delete this one off. But we'll create another layer. Above it that's transparent, and we'll just grab a custom image. So in this case, we'll make a rectangle. And for that one, we're going to go ahead and pick a color. And let's just go red, because it's bright. And if we were to fill that, so we're going to go ahead and fill it with red. If I drew that now, that's great, and it's a bright red box, but I can get creative with that and say, you know what, I really just want that red border. So in stuff like Canva, where in Photoshop we can add a stroke and do some cool stuff there, but maybe I just want to make another layer. I can do it on the same one, but if I want, some room to move things around, I could go and take this layer and go like this. And now I create what looks like a cutout there and can mess around with that. Or perhaps at this point, I want to size this and create something like a 2-1. So I can make another layer and do this. If I wanted to, I could kill off that stroke there because that's what it looked like in most of your normal software. But see, we can layer that. But now, if I put those together, you can see it makes one shape. So you can get creative with those and put shapes together to make something a little bit more abstract or cool or different parts by using layering and thinking beyond that box and beyond that area. If I want to create what looks like a circle cutout, I just switch that to the round tool. And same thing, I could switch this back to red and make it look like this is, well, it helps if I actually switch it here. I want to go to a new layer. So new layer, shape, form of ellipse tool. And now it's red. If I go like this, you can kind of see it looks like a nice little cutout. So we're not getting fancy with our making graphics here because this isn't the graphics part. I'm not graphic designing stuff here. But you see the idea how it can look and work differently. And that transparency can make a big difference because at this point I can say subtract white or subtract red and I can have cutouts all over the place. But that layering lets you get away with different looks. Maybe I had my logo or something around here and this is a cutout for where I would be. I could do that type of stuff there. So that's the general gist of layering. Like I said, if I wanted to, I could pop this behind that one and not the other. So now it looks like that. If I didn't have that stroke on there, it would actually make a cooler little image, but you can kind of see how I can make it look like something's hidden. Or here, we'll just go ahead and delete that one, make another layer above it. This time, we'll go ahead and draw this again, but no stroke. Why I even had that on there. But let's just draw that at this layer. And you can see how I'm going to draw behind here, but because it's layered below that other rectangle, it will now look like it's just cut out. So with that, I can move it around. I can go like that and give a different look because now it looks, and that layer played with that. So that's what you can do with layering in Photoshop and or Canva. And I hope you found that interesting. I find it interesting. Yeah. And if you want more tips like that, or more tips like what we were already covering in the other, then please let us know. But go ahead and subscribe to us on Facebook by going to @Glitch2600, or go find us on YouTube using the link below. If you're on a computer, you can hover over that QR code right there with your smartphone. And it'll ask if you want to open that, and you just say yes, and then subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll get notified of those. And come join our Geek Outs. That's where you can ask your questions live on the air. Otherwise, we'll keep doing these bites as part of Vlogmas, and you'll see another one tomorrow. And for today, just for fun, we're still opening our craft beer advent calendar. And today's one is day 11, and we have Pleasant Street's Cream Ale from, or Pleasant Street Cream Ale. Let's see if it focuses. From Limestone Brewers. Come on, focus. Moved my light, and now it hates me. Limestone Brewers out of Osage, Iowa. So that'll be part of our happy hour that we'll be doing on Sunday. If you like to geek out on craft beer, that's the time to come join us. But this has been a Glitch Byte. We'll have more tomorrow, and I hope you had a great time. We'll see you soon. Bye.